So this is going to be, instead of the Dvar Torah, it's going to be the Ask the Rabbi. And we'll see. I'll grab some of the questions that you might have, and I'll choose maybe one. If we have time, maybe two. So, please don't take it personally. I don't want you to write your name on them, so that I don't know who wrote what. And I'm going to ask Karen. Is Karen here? Where is Karen? You're here. During the song, as you're ready, just raise your piece of paper, and Karen will come and pick it up, and then I'll gather them and browse through them and pick one that we can talk about. All right? Okay. I'm going to pick one that I think might express a lot of what everybody else has said. You might recognize your question, but there's really a big pile on that. Why do we struggle to bring light into the world if the one is all in all, including darkness? And the questions were really about the darkness in our world and what can we do about it? Where do we stand with it? How do I keep my heart open when dark clouds are circling? Okay. Kabbalah teaches us that all of us, each and every one of us, are participants in the ongoing process of creation. Kabbalah teaches us that creation didn't end on the seventh day, according to the story, but that is in fact continuing. Kabbalah teaches us that there are two aspects of the divine. One that exists prior to anything, prior to time and space, prior to anything being created. And out of that one, before anything and everything, before time and space, arises, manifests the divine universe. And that divine universe that is expressing as every single atom in the universe is evolving. It's hard for us to understand that God is still evolving. But Kabbalah literally tells us God is evolving, and God is continuing to create and manifest God's self as and through the world, and God does that through each and every one of us. We are the hands, the feet, the words, the mouth, the beings through which, among others, but through which creation continues to evolve and unfold. And so we're given a responsibility to, in fact, create this planet, create this world in which we live, make this into the Garden of Eden. That is ultimately where Kabbalah is telling us each of us has to participate in moving the needle forward. We're not waiting for a Messiah. We're not waiting for somebody out there to come and rescue us, to come and make everything well for us. Kabbalah is very clear. We are the ones. We are Messiah. We are the ones that need to work towards bringing about the awakening of messianic consciousness. And it's true, there are very dark clouds surrounding us. It's true that right now it's so dark that it's really hard to see even 20 feet ahead of us. And so much we feel is in the balance. So much is on the edge, teetering one way or another, and could go this way and might go that way, and we are all sitting here concerned, scared. We are feeling that which we thought was solid around us is not solid at all. That which we thought we could trust, we can't trust anymore. We are, in fact, learning that the myth into which we have our being, the myth into which we live, this myth of democracy, in fact depends on those in position of power, in position of leadership, to actually embrace that myth, to actually believe in that myth, to actually want to perpetuate and manifest that myth of democracy, a pluralistic democracy where the people's voices is in fact what is heard and what rules the day, what makes the world move forward. We are realizing that in fact, if the people that are in power, in the people that are in leadership position, do not believe in the concept of democracy, the myth in which we live, then all of that can quickly fall apart. It is a time of great learning. Sometimes the most important lessons come in really dark packages. But I believe it is a time of great learning. I believe it is a time of great awakening, in fact. I believe that we are being shown the dark side of the mirror. I believe that we might have lived in a little bright bubble for too long, that we took everything for granted. Because we believed in the myth of democracy, pluralistic democracies. And what is being shown to us through this dark times is in fact what is needed. I have said that, and I will continue to say that, is that every time I encounter darkness, in whatever shape it proposes itself to me, my reaction is, in response to that, what is needed? What is the light that I need to bring in order, I'm going to say a little bit of a Star Wars image, to bring balance to the Force? What is the light I need to bring to even the odds? And in the time where we are invited into separation, when we are invited into division, when we are invited to hate, when we are invited to reject, when we are invited to burn bridges, it's a call to me to do the exact opposite. Against all odds, and with great courage, and with great and fierce determination, I resolve to keep my heart open, I resolve to not make you into an other. I resolve to never let hatred fill my being, because that is not who I want to be in the world. It's just simply not who I want to be in the world. I want to be one who participates in the Kabbalistic project, to bring love, understanding, compassion, embrace into this world. And you will not tear me down. You will not turn me around. Now, does that mean that I need to simply be a doormat and let you step all over me? Not at all. Not at all. I will make the necessary decisions. I will take the necessary steps. I will resist what I need to resist in order for love to win. I will vote. I will protest. I will make my voice heard. I will do whatever I can do in the context of an attitude of loving kindness. And I will thank you for bringing to my attention, what in fact is most needed at this moment. The error we are often making is that as things are piling on in our news feed, we tend to close our hearts and to reject. It's time perhaps for us to no longer be surprised. I think if we can get to a place where we no longer are surprised, then we can start to act not from a place of being reactive, but from a place of being responsible. Those in power today will do and act in the way they are meant to act. That is who they are. They will do exactly what their being calls them to do. It's not a mistake. They exist and have their being in a special consciousness, in a way, in a worldview that is naturally inviting them to act in the way they act. We need to stop being surprised. We need to stop wanting them to be different than they are. We need to stop wanting them to act differently than they are. To free ourselves from that knee-jerk. To free ourselves from, oh my God, how can they? We're not going to change them, whatever that means. We're not. Somebody asked me last night, how do we do that? How do we talk to those who we don't seem to, to be able to connect with? How do we do that? How do we reach across the aisle? How do we do that? And I said that the first thing we need to do is to ask them about their fears. If we want to find common ground, we need to ask them about their fears. And when we ask them about their fears, to keep our heart open and to really listen to what it is they are so afraid of. because we all have fears. And then we can share what our fears might be. And it sounds perhaps bizarre, but I believe that our common ground is our common fears. And if we can hear each other's heart and hear each other's fears, then we can start building something together. But as long as we ignore, deny, don't want to hear the fears, the legitimate fears that animates those across the aisle, and sometimes it's our cousins, our uncles, our, members of our own family, right? I believe the conversation can begin with, I hear what your fears are. I deeply hear what your fears are. Let's work on this together. Here are my fears. This is not a new concept, There's a whole movement actually in Israel that put together families who have had children, family members who have died on both sides of the conflict during the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. And they put families together who are on both sides are in mourning, who have all lost somebody. And in that place of darkness, in that place of shared heartbreak, the conversation can actually open because there is a common ground, and they can start talking about fear, and they can start to see the fears on each side that is driving the actions that each side is taking. Action, reaction, retaliation, and on and on. So how do you keep your heart open when dark clouds are surrounding you? When dark clouds are surrounding you, it is when you need to keep your heart open. It's easy to keep your heart open when things are blissful. That's not where the work is. And Trump will be Trump. Stop wanting him to be somebody he cannot be. He will continue to do what he's done in the last 3 years because that's who he is. There is nothing we can do about that. That's his worldview. That's how he sees things, and that's how he manages his life. It's always been this way since, ask all his wives. And he will always be like that in his life. So let's stop being surprised. He would relieve one layer of anger from the news. God, I think there is something about the surprise that just how could he? I was like, no, how could he not? Of course, that's what's going to happen. There is a pattern. It's always going to be this way. So let's vote. You don't like what's going on, just go ahead and vote. You don't like what's going on, go ahead and make donations to the candidates you want to support. Take charge. We're not victims. And let's make this an opportunity. Let's make this an opportunity for personal growth. Let's make it an opportunity for learning as a nation. So when this is over, because at some point it will be over, nothing lasts forever. Nothing. Sorry to tell you that. It'll be time for us to say, okay, how can we make our institutions more solid? How can we really do this together and put them on more solid ground? How can we really not let what we are seeing right now happen again? And when we vote, I think as citizens of this nation, it is incumbent upon us to really look at the candidates we're looking at and see if they too believe in this concept of a liberal, pluralistic democracy. Because again, it really seems that it's just about the people. And we can only do that if we tap into the deepest center of our being. We can only do that if we are able to tap into the better angels of our nature. We can only do that if we tap into that extra soul that we are given on Shabbat. See, the Kabbalah is telling us that the soul of our week is the nefesh, which is the embodied soul, the egotistic soul. But when we are able on Shabbat, in the day of meditation retreat, to step into a different kind of consciousness, then we tap into our higher soul. The soul that exists in the middle of our heart space. The soul that is beyond and before all the stories and the hurts and the fears. And I always come back to that soul which can see from a bigger perspective, can see a bigger picture. It's the soul that Einstein talked about when we said you cannot solve a problem at the level of consciousness at which the problem arises. You have to reach higher. And we have to invite ourselves to reach higher in order to have a greater perspective on what's going on. If we are collapsed in the tit for tat kind of thing, we're not going to find our way out. And Shabbat is inviting us to take a breath and to see, okay, what is really going on? What are the forces at play? And what does the world need right now? What does the world need right now? And the Kabbalah says that we have angels surrounding us that we can tap into depending on what's going on in our life. You know, in front of us is the angel called Uriel. Uriel is the light of the divine, the light that shines the way. Maybe that's the angel we need right now to talk to. And you know, it's not a real angel, it's the angel within us that knows the path forward, that lights the way ahead of us, that brings clarity into the darkness. Of those steps, the one step we can take. We're not going to fix the world. I talked about that during High Holidays. Find your starfish. Find your starfish. That is your Uriel. Behind us is Raphael, the healing presence of the divine. He's calling us to heal as we move forward, to continue healing what we leave behind as we grow. Because as we move forward and we grow, we always carry with us a little bit of shadow from the previous stages of our existence. So we continue to heal what is behind us as we grow and evolve and move forward in life. On our right side is the angel Michael, which is the presence of God, the vision of God. Is you look to your right and you see, and there's a mirror there to remind you that you are the image of the divine, that you are divine, that you are powerful. And on our left, the left pillar of the Kabbalistic tree of life is Gevurah, Gabriel. The angel Gabriel is the angel of courage. And to find the courage to keep our hearts open, to remain true to who we are, to stand our ground, and to be a or lagoim, a beacon of light to the nations, and to never give up, to lead by example, to keep being that loving, embracing, compassionate being, day in and day out, moment after moment, Facebook post after Facebook post, news cycle after news cycle.